I've never had the hugest chest, but the methods I'm going to show you in this video took my chest from looking like this to looking like this. Within the fitness community, people like to pick sides. One school of thought is that high reps and low weight is the only way you're going to build muscle, and then others would argue that a high weight and low reps is the only way to build muscle. As with most things in life, the ideal approach probably lies somewhere in the middle. It's generally understood that for bodybuilding, you want to be somewhere in the 6 to 12 rep range, and throughout my chest exercises, I like to go right to the bottom of that scale and right to the top, depending on the exercise. So without further ado, this is what I do for my chest day. So I like to start off with the heavier, more compound movements, and the first of those I'm always going to do is the incline barbell press. Some people prefer the flat bench when doing the barbell press, but I prefer the incline for a couple of reasons. So the main reason that I prefer the incline barbell press is due to the emphasis that it puts on your upper chest as opposed to your lower chest. Most people will have quite a defined lower chest and you'll be able to see it poking out at the bottom, but then when it comes to the upper chest, it's a bit more flat and less round. And I think by focusing on the upper chest, I can create more of a rounded look to my chest, and it makes it look much fuller, much more 3D, and just much better in general. So it's a trend with most of these exercises that if there's an incline and a decline variation, for my chest, I'm probably going to go with the incline. The second reason that I like an incline barbell press is for the range of motion that you get when compared to a flat bench. On a flat bench, there's a limit to how far your elbows can go back, whereas I feel like when I'm doing an incline barbell press, I can really get much further back, much better range of motion, which will lead to greater muscle hypertrophy, and also, I imagine, a reduced risk of injury, which is important when you're going to be doing quite heavy weight on a barbell press. When I've got the option, I like to go for just a normal incline press, but I do like to use the Smith machine sometimes, mainly when I've not got a spotter, because if you're going really hard and almost to failure without a spotter, you're probably going to be in some danger. So if you've not got a spotter, either leave a few reps in the tank, or if you really want to go to failure, just go on the Smith machine and get yourself set up, and you'll really be able to just get that extra squeeze at the end. Because the incline barbell press is a big, heavy compound movement, I like to stay on the lower end of the ideal rep range, so somewhere between 6 to 8 reps, normally around 8 I go for, and that just means you can progressively overload every week and push yourself that bit further, knowing that you've got around 8 reps to achieve. Now after the incline barbell, I like to stay on the presses and move to a machine press. If I've got the option, I'll probably go for either the one that's a wide chest press or an incline press, but as I mentioned earlier, decline I tend to stay away from because I'm pretty happy with the lower chest and I don't really want to overdevelop it any more than it already is. With a machine chest press, the main advantage that you've got is that you don't have to worry about balancing or about form. You can just worry about getting the weight up and down in the fixed path of motion that's already set out for you. This means that you can generally get more of a stretch and a squeeze when you're doing machine chest presses as opposed to a free weight, and for that reason I go similar kind of rep range, but maybe 7 to 10 instead of 6 to 8 for example, but still going quite heavy and really focusing on stretching and squeezing. Now those are the two movements that I'll try to do pretty much every chest day, and then after this point is where I kind of tend to get a bit creative with it and go with what I feel. So the first of those exercises that I've got in my rotation is yet another press, and that's going to be the flat bench dumbbell press. At this point in the workout I've already done 2 presses, so I'm definitely not going to be going for my max or high weight on this. Maybe somewhere in between 60 to 70% of your 1 rep max. And again, maybe now starting to get into that mid-range of reps and going for at least 10 reps to really focus on maybe holding at the bottom and getting more of a squeeze than maybe if you was to do it the first exercise of your workout, for example. And again, I'm sure you all know how to do a flat bench dumbbell press, but if not, do stay tuned because I'm going to be doing some breakdowns of individual exercises later on my channel. So if you want to get more into the details of each exercise, then hit the subscribe button and I'll have some more videos coming for you soon. Now moving on to the other chest press that I might swap out with a flat bench dumbbell, and that's the assisted press machine. You might not have one of these in your gym, but it looks like this, and I find it as a nice alternative to a flat bench and a chest press, as unlike most chest presses, it's horizontal, so it feels much more natural, much more like you're doing a bench press, but then it also has the advantages of the chest press machines in that you can't fail it, and you're going to be able to get much more of a mind-muscle connection, and again, focusing on that stretch and that squeeze. With this one, I'd go for a similar kind of rep range with the dumbbells because at this point you're going to be pretty fatigued in your chest, especially with the presses. So anywhere between 8 and 10 reps, really focusing on the stretch and squeeze, like I said before. At this point, you're probably sick of all the pressing that we've been doing, and I've got good news for you. We don't have to do any more pressing. We're going to move on to cable flies now. When it comes to cable flies, you've got a couple of different options, and I'll touch on them in a moment. But the main principle when you're doing a cable fly is that we really want to just push our muscle to failure at this point. We've already done 3 different chest presses, so we're going to be pretty fatigued at this point. So we're not going to be going for heavy weight or, really pushing it too hard. We're just going to be focused on high reps, mind-muscle connection, getting the squeeze even more than we have before, and really just going to failure or, maybe 1 rep in the tank. But I like to go to failure pretty much every time I'm on the cable flies. So touching back on the different options we've got, you can essentially either do it standing, on a bench, and you can either do it out in front of you or downwards. You can do upwards, but as I've said a million times, we don't want to do lower chest, and that's what that targets, so no upwards. So I tend to prefer just doing it standing because it's hassle going and getting a bench and setting it up, and at this point I just kind of want to go home. So I just do the standing press, but if you like a bench press, I mean, I'd advise you try it out. You might enjoy it a lot more. You get a lot more isolation, I think, because naturally when you're standing up, you're going to cheat a little bit and throw it around, whereas if you're sat on a bench and you've got your back support, you're not going to be able to cheat, so you have to really focus on just working the chest, as opposed to when you're standing up, there might be a little bit of shoulder activation. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. But yeah, like I said, at this point, we're going for pretty much reps to failure and really just burning the chest right at the end of the workout. So that about wraps up what a typical chest day looks like for me. And I just want to add at this point that even though I gave specific numbers for reps and sets, I tend to, in the moment, just go with what I'm feeling. If I sit down and I do an incline barbell press and it's just really not feeling good and I'm really not getting a burn from it, then I might change it out for an incline dumbbell press. You know, these aren't fixed methods. These are just what tends to work for me. But if you do an incline barbell press and, you know, you watch a video on how to do the form, which I will have coming soon, but if you watch a video on how to do the form correctly and you've tried it out a couple of weeks in a row and you're really just not feeling it, then, you know, switch it out for dumbbells. I can only tell you what works for me, and in all likelihood, this exact workout probably isn't going to feel the greatest for you because everyone's different. So try it out, let me know what you think, let me know what you like to do on your chest day, and yeah, stay tuned because I'll have some more videos coming with how to do specific movements. Maybe I'll go over some of the fundamentals in how I do a back day, or whatever you guys want to see. Let me know in the comments, and yeah, thanks for watching.